Real deal is we don't own any platform the way we should. There's a few black-owned platforms, but we don't have a lot of outlets. We don't have as many. So we are not sort of governing over these entities or these corporations.
You don't care how people feel about the ritual. It's about does following the ritual work. Yeah. And so you can fool yourself into thinking there isn't one, but the evidence will be clear.
Larenz Tate was a sitcom kid. He did have a lot of shows that didn't last. And I'm pretty sure at one point he felt like his career was not going in the direction it should. See, this is a testament that what is for you, and things happen in divine time.
Hollywood likes to sort of devalue black artists and black folk because you get super talented people at a discounted rate.
Welcome back to your daily dose of scandal and glamour. Let's spill the tea on today's biggest celebrity stories. Katt Williams been warning us for years. Hollywood don't play fair with the real ones. It's the fake smiles, puppet moves, and gatekeeping deals that keep certain folks on top. But the ones who stand 10 toes down on their morals, they get pushed out like yesterday's news. And that's exactly what he hinted happened to 90s legend Larenz Tate. This, the same Larenz who snapped in Menace II Society, had women falling out their seats in Love Jones, and brought straight-up black royalty energy every time he hit the screen. But then, he vanished. No scandals, no mugshots, no wild headlines, just silence. 1 minute he was that dude, and the next, Hollywood pretended like he never existed. What happened? Now, Katt ain't say it word for word, but the shade he threw? Crystal clear. Larenz might have said nah to those shady Hollywood backdoor deals, the so-called rituals that actors do just to climb that power ladder. And when you say no, when you don't play puppet, they lock you out. You become a threat because you can't be controlled. And if they can't control you, they don't want you. So now we gotta ask, what really went down? What did Larenz see? What was he asked to do that made him bounce instead of sell out? Why was he shut out when he had the looks, the skill, and the legacy to run circles around half of Hollywood? Let's get into the real reason the industry hit him with that silent blacklisting. Something shady went down, and it's time to talk about it. Back in the 90s, Larenz Tate was that dude. You couldn't turn on a screen without seeing him shut it down. He straight up snapped in Menace II Society, playing that wild, unpredictable OG who had zero chill and a hair-trigger temper. Then he flipped the script in Dead Presidents, stepping into the role of a haunted soldier, carrying real pain in his eyes. You could feel it. It wasn't just acting. It was soul deep. And don't even get started on Love Jones. Larenz had the ladies locked in as Darius Lovehall, the smooth-talking, poetry-spitting heartthrob who made every woman feel like she was the one.
That's what they all end up saying at the end of the day. Kevin told you he wasn't gonna wear no dress until...
No. Oh, no.
So they offered him the dress, and then he put it on. And what did he say after he wore it? I made my own decision. Duh. But you didn't make it before they brought it up, did you? It's okay.
He wasn't just playing roles, he was making moments that still live rent-free in people's minds. Larenz wasn't just Hollywood's rising star, he was ours. Black men saluted him. Women were obsessed. He had the swag, the skills, and the respect. And the best part, he stayed clean. No clout chasing, no embarrassing headlines, no scandals, just raw talent and pure class. But then, poof, out of nowhere the momentum stopped. No big fallout, no drama, no messy meltdown, just silence. 1 minute he was the next big thing, and the next, it was like somebody cut the mic on his whole career. And that's what's so shady. Usually when someone fades out in Hollywood, there's a scandal or meltdown to blame. But with Larenz, nothing. Just a cold shoulder from the industry with no warning. What really went down? Rehab, lawsuits, career-killing scandals? None of that ever touched Larenz Tate. He kept it clean, played his roles, and stayed out of mess. And yeah, he still pops up in a role here and there. But let's be honest, he never got back that shine he used to own. So what really went down? Well, looks like Katt Williams might have hit the nail on the head again. Word is, Larenz started turning down certain roles, stuff he felt was flat out disrespectful or built on tired, stereotypical nonsense. And yep, one of the big ones, cross-dressing roles. Hollywood loves pushing certain narratives, but Larenz, he wasn't with it. He wanted roles that meant something, real stories, real characters. But in Tinseltown, when you start saying no too many times, that phone stops ringing. And let's not sugarcoat it. Hollywood gets real nervous around strong, self-assured black men who ain't desperate for their approval. That kind of confidence, it shakes the system. There's always been this unspoken cap on how many clean-cut, powerful black men they'll let stay in the spotlight at once. They'll boost one to the moon, give him the awards, the prestige, the long run, and then keep the rest boxed in, typecast as sidekicks, criminals, or background noise. Meanwhile, studios are throwing bags at the same tired roles: urban pain, broken homes, and hood tragedies on repeat. Why? Because like Spike Lee said, Hollywood loves black suffering. It's easy to sell, it keeps the power dynamic comfy, and it doesn't force any uncomfortable growth. So yeah, Larenz said no to being a puppet.
Don't turn down $50 million. Now, I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times. 4 times. Just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right. Because P. Diddy be wanting to party. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did.
And that might have cost him everything. A black man with self-respect who won't sell his soul for a check? That's a threat to the system. That's the type of man kids might actually look up to. The type who could shake the table and call out the machine for what it really is, and they can't let that happen. So sure, they'll give you one Denzel, but let's be real. Even he had to be flawless. 10 times sharper, 10 times more polished, never stepping out of line. Larenz Tate didn't vanish because he lacked talent. He vanished because he didn't play the role they wrote for him behind the scenes. And Katt Williams? He'd been warning us for years. He's been waving the flag, screaming the truth while folks clowned him and called him bitter or crazy. But now, people are waking up and realizing he wasn't lying. And that's exactly why they tried to silence him. See, Katt always said Hollywood got its own little initiation rituals, and everybody focuses on the dress thing. But it ain't really about a dress. It's about breaking you, about making you cross that one line you swore you'd never touch, something that strips your pride just enough to make sure you never fight back. Because once they get you to bow down like that, they own you. You're no longer a threat, you're part of the system. And the ones who refuse, like Larenz, they get locked out, blacklisted, and erased. Not because they weren't great, but because they had backbone. But Katt didn't stop at just calling out the fake roles. He took it way deeper. He tied all this Hollywood madness to something spiritual. According to him, this industry ain't just shady, it's dark. He wasn't just talking about sellouts, he was talking about full-on submission to something bigger, something sinister. Katt linked that whole dress ritual to whispers about certain elites allegedly worshiping forces like Baphomet. Yeah, that level of twisted. He said it's not just about putting on a dress for a part. It's about control, humiliation, and straight-up spiritual compromise, sacrifice, submission, and stepping into a system that owns you completely. Now bring it back to Larenz Tate, a man with the look, the talent, the respect, and the fan love. He had everything. So why did he disappear? Not because he wasn't good enough. Nah, all signs point to him getting to that final door.
Work twice as hard to get twice as less as our counterparts, right? And that being said, we're not valued. I believe we're supposed to be valued. So those budgets are really important for us so that we can have the kind of quality that we can present to the consumer. And the smaller the budget, the more creative you have to get. And we don't have resources oftentimes as our white counterparts.
And choosing to walk away. Even Larenz himself has dropped hints in interviews. He didn't fall off. He said it plain. He stepped back. He wasn't about to play their game. He didn't take the bait, didn't sell his soul, didn't fold under pressure. But Larenz didn't just walk away quietly. He talked. And when a black man starts speaking up about the stuff folks are told to stay silent on, that's when the industry gets shaky. He spoke up about one of the biggest taboos in the game, the pay gap. While Hollywood parades around with their diversity and inclusion slogans, Larenz called out the real. Black actors still getting paid less than their white peers, even when they bring the same skills, box office numbers, and loyal fan bases. That truth made a lot of people real uncomfortable. This is the exact kind of truth Hollywood hates being exposed. They expect black actors to just smile, take whatever crumbs they're offered, and act grateful for the bare minimum. But the second you start asking for real respect, talking fairness, control, or equal power, that's when the strings start getting pulled behind the scenes. Quick, just look at what happened to Taraji P. Henson or Monique. The moment they spoke up about being lowballed and disrespected, the industry turned on them. Suddenly they were difficult, ungrateful, hard to work with. Meanwhile, white actors push for multi-million-dollar deals and get praised for knowing their worth. Make it make sense. But Larenz Tate, he wasn't just talking about getting paid right. He took it even deeper. He called out the whole game, not just who's on the screen, but who's behind the scenes pulling the strings. Because tossing a few black actors into lead roles and cutting them a check ain't real change. Larenz made it very clear. The real issue is about power. Who's choosing the scripts? Who's funding the projects? Who decides what stories get told and which ones get buried? Until that shifts, it's all just smoke and mirrors, putting black faces in front of the camera while the same people stay behind it. That's not representation.
And I heard on the street, Taraji, you had the audacity to say you're thinking about stopping acting. We said, stop talking. Are you thinking about it?
I'm just tired of working so hard, being gracious at what I do, getting paid a fraction of the cost. I'm tired of hearing my sisters say the same thing over and over. You get tired. I hear people go, you work a lot. I'll have to. The math ain't that.
That's a distraction. True power is in the control, and Larenz had the guts to say it out loud. And once you say that out loud, once you start pulling back the curtain on who's really calling the shots, you become a target. Larenz didn't just speak up about the money or the gatekeeping. He challenged the entire system. And in Hollywood, that's dangerous. See, the game is built to protect the ones holding the power, not the talent doing the work. If you stay quiet, play your part, and don't rock the boat, you might stay in the loop. But the minute you start asking why there's never a black director behind that billion-dollar blockbuster, or why certain scripts full of truth never get greenlit, you start to vanish from the invites, the auditions, the entire ecosystem. Larenz didn't play the puppet. He didn't water down his voice just to stay relevant. And that made him disposable in their eyes. Because for them, a smart, talented black man who's not afraid to speak up, that's someone they can't manipulate. And they don't want that kind of energy on set. It's the same pattern we've seen with others who dared to question the system. Speak up. And suddenly, you're too controversial to cast, too opinionated to endorse, too difficult to work with. It's coded language, a silent blacklist, a slow fade. And through all of it, Larenz never begged to come back. He stood on what he believed, even when it cost him everything. That's not failure, that's integrity. Larenz Tate didn't sell out, and that's exactly why they wiped him off the map. He refused to play the game, refused to kiss the ring, refused to trade his dignity for deals. And Hollywood don't like that, so they punished him the quiet way, cutting him off from the inside. The big roles stopped, the offers dried up, the headlines disappeared. One day he was the face of black excellence on screen. The next, it was like he never existed. Not because he lost his touch, but because he wouldn't be owned. He wouldn't let them mold him into another puppet on strings. And that's the scariest part. Hollywood didn't just cancel Larenz. They erased him, silently, strategically, like they do to anyone who's too smart to control, too clean to smear, and too real to play along. But guess what? The truth always bubbles back up. And now, with Katt Williams name-dropping Larenz, that means something. Because when a truth teller like Katt starts calling names, it ain't random. It's calculated. It's intentional. They tried to bury Larenz, but they didn't realize. He escaped. He walked out of the system with his soul intact. And now, the cracks in Hollywood's mask are showing. The truth's leaking out, bit by bit. So now it's your turn. What do you think happened to Larenz Tate? Did he really say no to those shady rituals Katt keeps exposing? Was it just about being undervalued, or was there something way darker behind his sudden disappearance? Let's talk about it. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to stay in the loop with all the latest tea. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an update, and I'll catch you in the next video.